Now we're going to do roll call. Pam is not feeling well, so she wasn't able to be here. And I am Sabrina Stagnita, present. Kim calls it. Kim does roll call. Kim, can you call roll call?
Yeah. Chuck?
Here.
Peggy?
Here.
Steve?
Here.
Sabrina?
Here.
Myself is here. Pam and Duke Germond are both absent.
Okay, so now the next order is approval of the workshop minutes back from August 2024.
I make a motion to accept the board meetings from the August 24th meeting. Was that the date?
Who's going to second it?
I'll second it.
Okay, so those are approved and done. Okay, the next topic of conversation is the proposed budget for 2025. And I'll hand it over to Keith to explain our treasurer to explain the budget.
I'm going to go through the notes that have been presented several times, so some of this may be redundant to people who attended the budget committee meetings and then the meeting in October. So with the budget that went out after the October meeting, there are 4 elements that are not included in the budget that the board will need to be considering next year. Those 4 items include the bulkheading of Pond 3, which has typically been done through special assessment, concrete restoration work on the catwalks and railings. We're still waiting for a bid or the actual evaluation from CMS for that, so we can actually send it out for bids. Then the third item is we did not include in the budget preventative termite treatments for the whole community. This summer we met with all 3 of our termite vendors, and 2 of them offered preventative services. About 14 years ago, we had a treatment in our community of chemicals that were injected under the buildings to prevent the subterranean termites. That particular treatment has kind of outlived its usefulness now, and we have a bid for doing that from one vendor for about $65,000. The other preventative nature for termites is bait stations, and that's approximately $2,000 per building. And so if the board in the future decides to move forward on doing preventative work for termite control, those are kind of 2 options that are on the table. The third option, or the fourth item that was not included in the budget, was potential work on the golf course to redo the greens. And the estimated cost there is between $90,000 and $100,000, but we don't have any firm positions. But those 4 were not included in the operating budget. Under administration, we have, Watson is our property management company, and we get 3 services from them. The property manager, bookkeeping services, and administrative office time. So that's included in the administrative budgets. We did include Diane's position at 18 hours a week. Diane has become very valuable to our organization, has always been, but is kind of, as a Monterey employee, is just a critical function of that. In 2024, our expenses for income tax went up significantly, and that was related to cashing out the CDs in 2023 that funded the $1 million roof project that we did that year. Our accounting fees are up in 2023 and will be up again in 2024. 2023 included the audit that was done by Carr Riggs, as well as some closeout work by Carr Riggs to turn everything over to the Watson system. In August of this year, we received notice from Carr Riggs that they were getting out of the condo line business, and so we are currently in search of a new vendor. We've interviewed 2 vendors so far. Their rates are approximately $16,000 to $16,500 per year, which was about $4,000 more than we had budgeted historically for that. Our legal fees went up this year. We're in the process of a slip and fall lawsuit that included, more legal time. And for next year, the legal fees are going up 9%. So that budgeted amount went from $13,000 to $14,000. With the movement of bookkeeping to Watson, we were able to eliminate Tom's accounting program, which saved us approximately $8,000. In building maintenance, we moved Jimmy back into building maintenance. Last year he had been included in the golf course budget, but we moved him back there because that's where the work that he does. We're also experiencing changes in our insurance, health insurance for our employees. Florida Blue was in the process of canceling us out, and we moved to Aetna. So that's a change there. And in building maintenance, there's a line for outside building maintenance. That was split between building maintenance and landscaping. Much of the work that Carlos Garcia does for the landscaping was originally billed under building maintenance. I moved a portion of that money into landscaping so that the landscaping services he does are more clearly reflected in the landscaping budget. As far as anticipated costs for this year in building, in outside labor, I added $2,500 of expenses due to hurricane-related cleanup. In the golf course, the 2024 budget included Jimmy, which I just previously mentioned, got moved back to building maintenance. The 2025 budget includes Sid, Joey, and Renee. Last year we had a 20-hour-a-week position in that budget. We were unable to fill that. In talking with Sid, our golf course superintendent, we came up with a plan to increase Joey's hours by 5 hours a week and Renee's hours by 8 hours a week to use some of that money to get the necessary work done. The remaining part of that money went into outside labor on the golf course to cover the work that Carlos Garcia does for trimming the beds around the ponds and all the work that he does to keep the golf course looking the way it does. Under landscaping, we saw Orlando Landscaping Service increased their rate this year, and so that's reflected in this year's rate. We did trim some of the budget off on that line, but it's still in line with what Orlando is charging us. The pond maintenance contract went up just a little bit. Tree maintenance contract remains the same, or no, it actually went up a little bit. We have 3 different vendors that do trimming for us. 707 does our palm trees. Their prices this year went up about $1,000 over last year. Carlos Garcia does some trimming of the Areca and Royal Poincianos. And Colton tree service does the trimming of the oaks and the pine trees in our facility. So that budget line went up. The budding green doctor, lawn treatments went up per their contract. And like I mentioned earlier, we moved outside labor into the landscaping contract, so that is accounted for in that. In the outside contract part, we had several meetings with Damien, our insurance broker. The liability insurance actually covers about 7 different policies. He recommended a 10% increase in that. Last year we had a finance charge of $4,438 that, because we paid it off on a monthly basis. Property insurance, after discussing that with Damien, increased by 10%. Last year we incurred a finance charge of $18,340 with that. With the conversations with Damien, we talked about a roof replacement schedule, and that includes replacing 9 roofs next year, and the additional, I believe it's 11 or 12 roofs due in 2031. And he recommended that we stay with that schedule. He saw no need to do all the roofs at this point. In looking at the expense lines and outside contracts, the expense for the property insurance includes the actual premium, the finance charges, and the insurance escrow payment. So whenever we had money left over from a payment, we had put that into the insurance escrow. About $127,000 of the savings from the insurance escrow were used to offset costs for building 39 and 40. So the way the escrow is working now, in January of this year, we should be able to pay the liability insurance in full, avoiding any finance charges. The money that's budgeted for liability insurance for 2025 will then be on a 1/12 basis put back into the escrow amount for insurance, so that in May of that year we should have significant money to offset our premium. We will most likely have to finance some of that again next year, but by keeping the insurance escrow healthy, we're able to minimize the amount of money that we have to finance. And it also gives us a cushion in August, September, October for any kind of hurricane-related damages for premiums. So it's just, in my opinion, a good thing to have some extra money in there. In terms of revenue this year, we have received significantly more delinquency fees. Part of that amount was a significant amount of money for the property that we foreclosed on. We were able to successfully close on that, get a back assessment money, our late fees. We were able to cover some of our insurance fees through that process, so that was successful. The system through Vanica is very effective in tracking delinquency fees. Our bylaws allow us to charge the $25 late fee from anything received after the 6th of the month. Our bylaws also include the ability to collect 18% interest on any outstanding assessment balances that are due. That's automatically calculated through the Vanica system, and my recommendation is that we begin that service effective January 1st. Laundry machine revenue was increased by a board decision back in August. We raised the price from $1 to $2. 50% of that money is being sent to the reserve for replacement of machines. The rest of the money is being saved in operating like it has been in previous years. Interest income for 2024 also increased, and that was a result of the banking system that we use through Vanica, where some of our sweep accounts collect interest where we did not collect interest from Truett, so we saw some money going into that. We added a miscellaneous income line in 2024, primarily due to the $12,500 we received from the U.S. Treasury as a result of COVID relief funds that Chris Malpidi had applied for in the fall of 2023. So that's just kind of a brief overview. I'm not going over 5 hours of conversation we had during the budget meeting. So I don't know if the board has any questions, or community has any questions.
Are there any questions?
The step is to put it on the agenda for approval at the next meeting.
Okay. So, are we going to put this on the meeting for next whoa. Are we gonna put it, this is gonna be, I'd like somebody to put this on the meeting for on the board meeting coming up in a couple weeks. We need to have this put on.
Agreed on keeping track of all that, so
Okay, but does it need to be I'd like somebody to second it, is what I'm trying to say.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing I would add is that the implementation of the interest fee be added to the budget, or for the vote on Wednesday, or next week, a motion for that. Although Holly had told me that because it's part of our bylaws, we just have to announce
That we're gonna
that
implement
we're
it.
gonna implement it. So it really doesn't require a vote because it's already part of our bylaws.
So we are going to be implementing the 18% rate on late payments as of January 1st. So, are there any questions? If not, I'll move on.
Just a comment?
Yes, can you please come up to the podium?
There we go. I'm Peter Staff at 46J. Just want to. Hi, Peter Staffel from 46J. I just want to say thanks to Keith and the board and the committees for coming up with and all the work they've done for this budget.
Thank you.
There's a few things that were mentioned.
You might have turned it off.
Turn it back off.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. First of all, the laundry machines. We moved up to $2. Back in May of, I'm trying to think, is it possible to turn the volume down a little bit?
I don't know how to do that. Okay. So she can put it out.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, in May of 2014, they put a bid out for the laundry machines, okay? That's when I decided to run for the board. At the time, the bid for the machines were $151,000. I had a bid for $145,000, they wouldn't accept it. And the only reason the guy gave us the bid for $151,000 was because he got a maintenance contract with it at $702 a month. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that, okay? I had the exact same machines for $145,000 with no maintenance contract. That's when I ran for the board, got on the board in 2015. When I got on the board, they were going to take the money and put it all into operating, which they did. Okay, they should have taken it, and I made a suggestion, and there was a few other people on the board that went along with me, to take half of it and put it into the reserves for the machines. Now we're in a dilemma where they had to raise the amount of money on there. We went up to $2 because we don't have any money in there for the machines. Okay, just so everybody, that's kind of a little bit of a history. I want to go back to the August 13th board meeting with Ed Glottenberg. He mentioned a special committee of volunteers and board members look into our insurance policy. Okay. He also said that the whole state of Florida had the same problem with insurance, and it was basically ignored by the board and said we just went along with it. Well, we did go along with it. Okay, because I went out and I got all the policies from Chris last year in July of 2023 and took all the policies and gave them to Jason Vendetti at Great Florida Insurance. I went through them from July all the way to the end of the year. At the end of the year, he came up to me and said, keep it where it is because you're not going to do any better. I can't, nowhere near come close to beat the price. Okay. One thing I want to do is I want to thank Keith for all the work that he's done. Yes. People have no idea. People have no idea. Because I was in there when he was in the office when Chris left. Okay. He's been in that office, and I'm sure he's been in there every day for the past 9-10 months. Okay. He's working his ass off in there. Okay. He's killing himself. I know what he's going through. I've been keeping in touch with him during the summer, so I know what he's doing. Just so everybody knows. So because somebody came up to me and said he doesn't do anything. Well, guess what? You're wrong. Okay. I want to thank Peggy along with Diane in the office for straightening all of the files and getting everything in order from when Chris left, because it was a mess. Okay, he had no real files. Okay, it was brought up at a finance meeting. Ed Blackenberg brought it up. Okay, that if we did all our roofs, we'd be done under $1 million in the policy. Okay, at the time, I was advised, and I'm not the only one that asked this question. I wanted something from the insurance company that they were going to put us under $1 million if we did all the roofs. Okay, that wasn't going to happen because I wasn't going to go ask Damien. I knew what the answer was going to be. Okay. So it was mentioned, and Chuck had mentioned that you didn't, over the past 18 years, I don't remember the exact word, but over the past 18 years, we've never dealt with the insurance company, we've always dealt with the broker. Okay, and you said maybe whatever it was, maybe the last 2 years, whatever it was. Okay, you're right, we haven't, okay, but our broker works for us. So he should have went to that insurance company and given us a copy of what I wanted, okay. I wasn't going to go to him because I knew what his answer was going to be. And that was proven in our town hall meeting with David. Okay. I'm not going to go through this. These are basically the minutes where Chris and Damien and Louis D'Esposito, they went back and forth with Damien. Okay. But at the end of the thing, the very end. Okay. So again, 20 rows we got left. This was Ed speaking. Chris interjected and put some of his own words in there. Okay, so again, this is Ed again. So if we stayed exactly the same, we dropped 50% because now our roofs are all under 15 years old. At that point, will our premium drop 50%? Damien, nothing. This is, if you go back and listen, because it's on YouTube. Okay, nothing. Let me answer this way. Nothing is going to drop the premium next year. If you did all your roofs tomorrow and spent $1.5 million, because the market sets every year with different reinsurance contracts, the market is supposed to go up another 20 to 40% next year. So if you roofed all day yesterday and Chris was out there with a sweat between the roofers, you'd be lucky to stay where you are. That was right from Damien. It went on. I'm not going to keep going through the thing. At the end, so Ed went through and he says, okay, blah 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 blah. That's what I was after. Appreciate you coming here. That's where I was going. Damien, the other program we have, the other problems we have with these properties being worth almost every 3 years, it's going to go from $58 million to $65 million. And when that thing renews, it's rates times value. These variables trying to keep a pocket on, best case scenario, if you did all the roofs tomorrow, you would be at $2,250 roof, $2,250 per roof, per unit. Okay, at $2,250 per unit, that's $1,147,000. We're not going underneath it. We're not even going to get close to the $2,250. Okay, right now we're at $2,500 a roof. So 20 versus $2,600 that we were at, it was at $1.36 million. In order to live in Florida, I can't see you living for less than $2,500 for common areas. Assessment Insurance and Condo Association, Century Village and Kings Point are paying more than that. Okay, so that goes, so the 50% premium was inaccurate. Damien, it's aggressive. Okay, the $2,250 is 1.147. The $2,500 is 1.275. That's where we are right now. Our premium came in at 1.274835, $165 short of where we were, of what he quoted, $2,500. Okay, what was failed to tell to everybody in this association is we got 22 roofs, 21 now because we just did one, that are not covered. If we have a hurricane or we have a tornado come through, those roofs are not covered because the insurance company is prorating all the roofs at 12 years. We got a 15-year lifespan according to the insurance company. So we better hope, we got lucky so far, that we don't get a storm come through here and rip the roofs off. It was mentioned that says, well, that'll never happen. Well, it did happen in 2020. We had 11 roofs we had to do because of damage, hurricane damage. So don't say it can't be done. Okay, that was a remark that was made. I just want to let everybody know that, yeah, our premium went down. We got $58 million worth of coverage, but we lost almost $1.5 million worth of coverage on roofs, just so everybody understands that. And I want to thank Ethan. I know these guys are in there trying to work with the insurance company. You're not going to get a better premium. The only way you're going to get a better premium is try a different insurance company, which Damien does. Okay, drop your coverage or raise your deductible. It's common sense. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Basically, what ended up happening,
Again, thank you very much, Keith, for what you've done.
when I was reading through the insurance contract, what ended up happening is the price went down to 1.275, but when you went to look at the fine print of what was covered, they covered roofs at 12 to 15, up to 12 years was 100% coverage. Then when you went from 12 to 15 years, it was prorated, and anything older than 15 years was no coverage. So that's a lot of no coverage. And that kind of is why it was cheaper in a way too.
I would just like to add a comment on the roofs. This year we had Jason from JT Roofing come in and inspect all of the roofs that have not been done, the ones that are due next year and the ones in 2031. And his opinion was that those roofs are at this point in time standing up to kind of the schedule that we're anticipating. So we did do one roof this year out of sequence. Building 34 was done. That was primarily done due to the fact that the edging around it, the metal edging around it had been damaged in a windstorm, and rather than just replacing the metal edging, it was our decision to replace the whole roof and then the metal roofing. So that roof is good to go now for the next 15, 20 years. I did an inspection on the roofs after the hurricane, removed some debris from some of the roofs, but I was not able to see any noticeable wear and tear from the hurricane. And though I'm not a roofing expert, I did look for any kind of obvious damage up there, and there was none. Just as an update.
Okay, so now, any questions, any more comments?
I do. Pat Friedman, 13F, still here. You mentioned about Pond 3. What was the name of that engineer that came that I specifically asked a question, 2 questions to, but unfortunately it wasn't recorded.
I have a comment on this. That same engineer that answered your question answered my question when I was out at the pond. I was looking at the building and he was discussing with me, and he said that the pond did need to be done. Not immediately right at that moment, but that pond did need to be done. But that day when you came up and asked the question, he seemed to be acting like he was on trial. And when, yes.
It's a simple yes or no answer.
It was
A simple yes or no answer.
Yes, and that question could not be answered with just a yes or no. Because the answer is no for immediately, but to let it go on forever in perpetuity, no. The answer is no.
I'm not saying let it go on forever.
You asked him, does it need to be done immediately?
Correct, because is it affecting the building? Yes or no? He said no.
He told me yes, and I'll
Well, then
explain
what
to
kind
you
of
how.
engineer
Because
do
you
we have?
wanted a yes and no answer, so you got your yes and no answer.
Well, then he should have been truthful.
No, you wanted a yes or no. Tell me yes or tell me no.
It's simple.
So he answered you in
Whatever.
a yes or no.
Whatever.
He explained that when a pond fills up with water, everything is fine. But as a pond recedes, it sucks dirt out with it. Now I'm giving you the honest answer, but you don't want to hear it. So I'm giving you the answer that.
I got the answer I wanted.
I know that's the answer you want.
Okay, I want to make a comment on this, because I was here when the engineer was here, and I flat out asked him about the problem also, and he said, and he flat out said, standing right here, and too bad we didn't have it on video, because we always do. He said right then that those buildings are too far away from the pond.
Not that building.
That's exactly what he said. I asked him personally. I waited for him to get here because he was late, because I wanted to talk to him about it. And he also said the problem on building 40 was 90% because of that drain pipe going through. And he said right here and said that. But unfortunately, we didn't video that one. So, to me,
I'm gonna give you an example. Building 51 over there.
you want to come up here and talk?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Building 51. We pumped concrete underneath that building because of the culvert pipe. That's nowhere near that building. Okay, that's what the contractor told us. Every one of these ponds, if you think that all these buildings don't have voids underneath them, you're totally wrong. Okay, because every one of these ponds, when that sand runs, and I'll bring an hourglass in and I'll show you exactly how the sand runs when the pond's sitting there. That sand is going. It's sand. It's not concrete. It's not solid dirt. It's moving every single day. Every time that water goes up, every time the water goes down, the sand moves. If you guys don't want to do that building 3, or pond 3, don't do it. Okay? Because down the road you're going to have problems. And if you think you're not going to have problems, think again.
Right, that pond can be done, but it's going to be done. Let me finish.
What?
It's going to be done by our bylaws and stuff. It's over 51,000. It's not for repair, it's not maintenance, okay? It's for beautification. That's what I was told already.
Beautification.
That's what I was told already by a board member that found out that they weren't going to do it, okay? So we can do that pond, but let's put it on an annual thing,
I'm
put
not
it out
saying-
the vote.
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. It needs to be
If
done.
the community votes for it, we
It
do.
needs to be done.
If we
That's
do.
simple. If you think it doesn't need to be done, do it.
But let me ask you a question while you're on this map.
I don't
okay?
believe that's beautification.
Wait,
That's
I
a
was
repair.
told, I was told this. 51,000. Let
It's
me
a
ask you-
retention
can I-
pond, not
can I-
a pond.
Excuse me, I got the floor for a minute here, okay? My whole problem is, the ponds look really good, okay? We did pond 4, we did pond 5, okay? We want to do pond 3, but we only want to do to one side, where the buildings are. Okay, so why do we spend the extra money on pond 4 and pond 5 to do the side where you have a fairway separating the pond from the building, and you have tee boxes separating the pond from the building? Were those buildings going to fall in? Were they going to get washed out? So why didn't we just do half of it and save up a bunch of money at the time?
You know what?
What's the answer to that?
That's what they wanted to do at the time.
Who wanted to do that?
The board and the people in here wanted to do it. They wanted all the money. You can do half if you want to. Do whatever you
Well,
want.
I'm just talking to you. I mean, you're talking about losing it. Well, my building was not going to get washed out.
If you think the building side doesn't need to be done, What do you guys?
Well, I'm just going by what our engineer, that we hire an engineer to come in here, and this is what he said.
I thought we had an old study, but we need to tone it down. But I thought we had an old study that said we needed to do the pond, didn't
Well,
we?
probably from an engineer.
So, we just never did it. So that's why some of these problems are happening.
Listen to me a second. Yeah, you
Okay.
can get engineers.
I want to calm things down.
You can get 2 engineers, one for the pond and one for the building. Well, I'm gonna believe what the building guy says, okay, not the pond guy. The building guy is the one that's gonna tell us that we're in danger, not the guy doing the pond, not the engineer from the pond.
And how did you come up with that assessment? Which
Because
engineer?
it's been
What you're
engineered.
doing is
Who was the
picking the engineer you want to listen to.
It
Is
was
what
by
you're
the
doing.
pond. The engineer, all these ponds was engineered by the pond. Is that not correct?
Okay.
Now, we need to know that.
I'm not gonna.
All
I'm not
right.
gonna sit here and argue.
Time to move on.
Do whatever you want to do. If you don't think they need to be done, just vote against it.
Thank you,
We're
Ron.
gonna put it in the vote.
I have a point of clarification. We do have legal opinion from Jacob, our attorney, that the work on the ponds, I don't have it here so I can't read it.
It's not beautification.
But it's not material alteration. Repair of existing infrastructure is maintenance and not material alteration. So we don't need a community vote for doing the pond.
You're wrong. If you're spending over $51,000 and it's not for
I
me,
think you're wrong.
We have a legal opinion.
He is not wrong. We have legal opinion. We have read it at prior board members. We have that document if you'd like to have it.
If you have a legal opinion. Okay, but I think
okay, well, we're gonna.
we're not going to discuss this now because we're not going to do it.
I think that.
It's not up for vote now, so I.
It's not up for vote, so let's move on. Okay. Now, we're going to discuss the CPA firms. Carl Riggs, who was our previous CPA for many years, decided to drop us. Not decided, but they decided to get out of the HOA and COA business. So we've had to look for CPA firms, new CPA firms. One of them is GRG CPAs, the other one's Hayford CPAs, which Keith already kind of discussed when he was discussing the budget. Their bids are similar. At this point in time, and we also interviewed them, they both interviewed well. There was one third one that we decided not to go with because they were way more expensive than the other ones, the other two. So at this time, we've sent out emails for references to these 2 CPA firms, and then after we see what everybody, what all the feedback is, then we'll decide which firm to go with. And Keith, do you have anything you want to say about this?
No, we just need to add it to the November 19th meeting so that we can actually vote on the contract for that. So,
Okay, I second that. Okay, I second.
yeah, I made a motion to, we'll vote at that point on the recommendation.
It's on the agenda. Okay, seconded. All right, now we have the secondary propane regulator discussion. I don't know, I know a little bit about it, but Keith, can you?
I'll mention, we had worked with AmeriGas this summer, and they worked with replacing regulators on all of our tanks, the 8 that we lease from them. Then we asked them to do an inspection of all the secondary regulators, which are related on the buildings, on the backside of the laundry rooms that go to the gas. They recommended that 37 of those be replaced. They gave us a bid for a little over $11,000 for it. Second bid from Florida Gas came in at about $15,000. $15,782. The AmeriGas bill was $11,980. There was some discrepancy between the emails from Florida Gas. At one point, they were recommending 48. On the bid they gave us was 36. I'd asked Holly yesterday to follow up with them, and I don't know if we ever got it back. So, but there's about a $4,000 difference between the 2 bids. So that's kind of an overview of the two situations. My preference is to go with AmeriGas. They're particular, they're our provider for natural gas. At $11,980.
I'd like to comment on this. Can I comment on this?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so anyways, I got the estimate also from the professional, gas professional, and they're putting 46, this price is for 46 regulators, not 36. And they're also going to change all the risers out, all the poly, 3/4 inch, they're going to do more than just put a new regulator in. And at the beginning, we were told that AmeriGas had to do this because they were our company, but that's not true. If we rent it from them, then they should be replacing them for nothing. We rent the tanks from them is what I gather from it, the tanks, and it's their job to keep that up, but not the other part. All the regulators belong to us as the association. So this guy's coming in, we're doing 46 of them at 15,000, where the other one's doing 30. How many was it, Keith?
37.
37 at 11,000. Plus, they're going to replace a bunch of piping in it, and that wasn't in an AmeriGas contract at all in it either. And another thing is, AmeriGas wants us to come behind them and relight the hot water tanks. And the guy that I talked to, Scott from Florida Gas, he wants to relight all the tanks because they're professionals and they know what they're doing, and they can check the unit out after they relight it. They want our maintenance guys to stand around and wait and light them after they change the regulator. So we're going to be paying a maintenance guy, and they're coming out. They are actually coming in $20 more per unit than AmeriGas, $20 more. But we're going to be paying that in labor for that. Plus, they're going to actually attach them to the wall, which is not attached to the wall. Some of them they can, if they're in copper, they're going to do that. I had a long conversation with them. And my opinion is we need to go with them instead of AmeriGas. If AmeriGas wanted to do it, they're 30 years old. Why haven't we done anything since then? I mean, I don't know. But in my opinion, the price it's more efficient to go with the other company. That's my opinion. If you look at the estimates, you'll see it. But it says that is for 46 regulators, not 37.
Yes. Can I add something on this real quick?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So the bid from AmeriGas, that one included them relighting the propane tanks, the hot water heaters. Just to let you know, that included them doing it. They said you can save money if you have your guy do it. I just want to clarify the price on that. That's
Well, actually, we really should have the professionals relight it.
and that's strictly up to you. I just want to bring that up. That's how that conversation.
Okay, so anyways, where they're doing a lot more work for you got to compare the apples to the apples here. And the other guy is he's replacing anything that needs to be replaced. I didn't even know this. There's pipes that run up to the second floor. I guess they go over and down. But he said they're all pitted and rusted and everything, and he's going to replace all that in the price and everything. So the better price is for this company to do it. And for them to relight it, I would feel a lot better than having a gas company relight the hot water. I've seen our maintenance guys in there trying to relight them. I never had a lot of problems doing that over the years. So that's just my opinion. So this will have to go up to a vote on the 19th, I guess. So,
Did I hear Kim?
yeah.
Why is one company only replacing 38, the other company wants to replace 46?
Well, this guy here from Florida Gas, like I said, I didn't even know he put a proposal in until I was told in the office by Holly. He went around to every single building and took pictures and everything and sent in a very
Here's
detailed.
the report right here. I can vouch for that.
Yeah,
There's the report.
a very detailed report on what needed to be done and what he was going to do and what he was going to replace versus what they were going to do. But he says the price-wise, all of them are going to need it sooner. I mean, they're 30 years old. So he worked out the price where he comes in, you can bring 3 guys in here and knock it out and get it done for that kind of price to get all of them done. No, I'm sorry. He was not told about, building 50 and 51. He was not told about that we had 2 units over across the street. So he didn't take pictures of those and look at those. But he did the other 49 buildings in here. So, I mean, the estimate to me is if you're going to compare apples to apples, you're better off going with this guy. I mean,
So you're saying that he's gonna replace, can we get a price on what each of them is gonna charge?
300.
All 51 buildings done?
well, he's already done two. He's already done two because they had problems with hot water tanks. And for some reason, we didn't get the hot water tanks from AmeriGas, and they were supposed to supply them, but there was a mess up on phone communication. So he came out, he already replaced two of them. That's why he was saying 46. But there's, instead of 48. And like I said, he didn't know about the two over there. But they might need to be replaced, maybe they might not. But he's giving a price on a turnkey to do all of them, is what he's doing, more or less.
So Keith, why isn't AmeriGas replacing all of them?
My understanding is that they did not feel that they all needed to be replaced. They looked at all of them and said these are the ones that need to be replacing now, is my understanding.
Well, that's probably good, but I mean, if they need to replace in another year or two, I mean, in my opinion, let's just get them done and get them all replaced so we don't have problems. You know, that's my thought on the matter.
So if we had AmeriGas do the 46 that Florida Gas says we need, it would cost us more money in the long run.
Yes, for sure. They're at $320 something, I think. He's at $346. So he's like $20 more. So that's the difference. AmeriGas is $320 something, right?
Per building.
AmeriGas is about $20 lower than Florida Gas per building, if you just divide the total number of buildings by their total number of costs. So AmeriGas is cheaper.
I think AmeriGas came in at $322, and he came in at $343. Is what the prices were.
So can we get those quotes sent back out to us, the final ones that we have, so we can look at them before the meeting on the 19th?
You should have it. You were emailed the one from Florida Gas Professional the other day, how they sent them out.
Okay, so we have the latest and greatest from both companies?
Yes, as far as I know, right, Ollie? Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we need to put this on, does anybody have questions on this issue? Okay, so let's put this on our.
I make a motion to add it to the agenda to make a decision, or make a vote on the vendor of choice, and put it on the November 19th meeting.
I'll second it.
Or is that the vote on what either one of them we're going to use? Is that what you said? I couldn't hear you.
It's a motion to get it on the agenda.
For both companies. Both
On
companies.
who the vendor will be.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you.
Okay, next topic is,
I'm sorry, Keith seconded that?
yes.
Thank you.
Next topic is the community workshop and the surveillance camera procedures we have here. And I don't, who wants to speak, who's speaking on this?
I will.
I believe Pam put it on the agenda.
Okay.
And she's not here, so
Or Sam wants to
I
talk
don't
about
know what background she wanted.
Okay. Pam had put this on the agenda to talk about it, but she's sick, so I kind of know a little bit, but.
Is it on? I'm Sam Mondello. I live in Building 30. I ran this workshop for about 12 to 13 years. Never had any issues with the workshop. This year we had one problem.
Sam, can you speak more to the microphone? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
No, she wants you to bring it closer.
Oh, closer?
She can't hear you, yes.
Okay. I've been running this shop for about 12 to 13 years. This year we had one problem. And Pam, obviously I called Pam, and she said that she was gonna get back to me. In the meantime, she went to Holly, and shut the cameras off without without letting me know, being that I'm in charge, the workshop. Anyways, she never got back to me. I got back here 2.5 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and I found the shop a disaster. A lot of tools are missing. Basically a lot of stuff is gone, and the shop is a mess. So I called Pam up. No, the day of the meeting, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago. I asked Pam if I could show her the shop, and she was too busy for me to take 5 minutes of her time to go and look the shop. Well, I approached Harley, and she did take the time, and she looked at the shop with me, and she agreed what I had said to Pam. Well, anyways, we set up a meeting at the glass room with Holly, Pam, and Nilsa, which I didn't know that it was changed. The impression that I had gotten prior to that was they were going to install the cameras, because what I have said to them, they were wrong, and both of them, Pam Kabatsky and Harley, apologized. They should have done what they did, which was great, all right? So anyways, in the meantime, we go to the glass room, and completely the meeting got changed without telling me what had going on. They made the changes without telling me. So we talked, nothing got resolved. In the meantime, I said to Harley, and Pam, I would like to know what's going on. Sam, both of them said nothing's going on. We will get back to you. Both of them said to me, at 4 o'clock Monday afternoon, both of them will promise me they would give me a call. Pam and Holly, both of them never call me. This is the type of respect that we get as a volunteers to Monterey. I donate a lot of time, and I love to do it. But none of them had the decency to call me and say, we didn't, something happened, not a big deal, doesn't matter to me either way. But a little respect on a volunteer. I personally feel they do not. Some people on this board don't have no respect for volunteers. This is Monterey. Monterey has been known for volunteers, like everybody volunteers their time, which I spend a lot of time with doing it. So up to now, I don't know what's going on and why they did what they did. Okay?
Well, I think they wanted to change the camera because some of the rules and laws have been changing, and I think they wanted it so that so Holly can access it in the office partially, and that's how it all started for lawsuit purposes. Okay?
Go ahead.
For lawsuit purposes, for liability purposes, that when there's a camera hooked
no problem, I understand it.
Because it's not like in your own home.
Right, I understand.
For
yes.
liability for the whole association.
She's had the paperwork for over a week and a half. Okay? She's had the paperwork that she's supposed to change it, and nothing's been done, and nothing's been told me. Okay, so this is BS.
Yeah.
If you change something, I understand we have to go by the laws. I'm all for the laws. But why nobody tells me what's going on? And she's had the paperwork. I was even asked if I could give this particular person a leeway to do the work around the shop, because he's one of their favors. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I said, no, absolutely not. Okay. Everybody should be treated here the same. I pay my maintenance like all of us. Okay? I don't feel that Pam Kabatsky and the manager should tell me how to treat people different because the neighbors or not. Everybody should be treated equal, and I don't feel that it's true. And I don't think it's minor rate used to be that way, not anymore. Okay? I like to see a lot of things change here. And that's not fair to any one of us to do what we do.
Okay.
So,
Thank you for what you said. Thank you.
okay. But has anything been resolved? You said to me that, okay. You said to me the other night that they had the issue resolved. Kim has been a terrific person to talk to. And you have been too, Sabrina. And so Chuck Park. Okay? My point is, nobody tells the way it is. Everybody talks behind everybody's back. Why? Why can't somebody be honest and say, this is what's going on?
All right, thank you, but I have been being honest. I know Kim's been being honest, and there's a lot of, I don't know exactly now what's going on, because what I told you on the phone as I was driving down is that I and Neil saw, and you were going to have a meeting, and probably Holly, but then before I even got back down, it was you, Neil saw. I'm not sure if Kim was involved in Holly.
The other thing I know.
After that, because I'm on more, I liaison for more, I kind of bowed out and let them handle it, because it seems like
It's more.
It's what?
Mora should be in charge.
Mora is in charge.
Okay, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But I don't understand what the president of Monterey's got anything to do with the shop. This one I'm confused. It's never been that way before, ever. Was always Mora. Always. It's not something new, and I'm sure you
I
could
don't
ask
think
anybody.
she's in charge of it, but I think if there's an issue, she got involved. And I really don't know. Now I'm just.
I understand.
projecting
Sure,
what's
I understand,
happening.
Sabrina, yes.
I don't know. But we're working on it, right, Holly? We are working on it.
Why did they work why does it take 3.5 months to work on?
How should, I don't know.
Just
Kim's trying to talk, yes?
So, we're working on a surveillance policy for the entire community.
And that's the answer we
I
haven't
need to
done.
talk to you about I know what your concerns are, but I want to make sure that the policy that we are looking at is going to give you the satisfaction that we are doing what you have been doing in the past with your cameras. So I need to sit down with you and make sure that we are covering with this new policy all of your concerns. This just came about yesterday. I finished the preliminary policy this morning. I need to send it out to the entire board. I have not done that yet, but just so you know, we are actively working on getting this policy in place so that we can get those cameras turned back on, or, some cameras turned back on, to make sure that the workshop is being looked at, so that we don't have the theft, we don't have the misuse, and we don't have any other issues in there. But just be guaranteed that we are working on this, and I'm sorry we're not moving as fast as you may want us to be, but it's hard for me to do that when I'm this far away.
I understand that, Kim. I just like little communication with everybody. That I don't think the board has any communication, and this is all the blame I'm putting it on Pat Kabansky, okay? Because she never communicated with me at all.
Well, I want to assure you that I don't play favorites, and I know we are all trying to resolve it as quickly as possible. And I do know that they're trying to get some cohesive and set of rules for communications and cameras and all that kind of stuff, so that everything is done the same throughout for everybody.
I understand it.
That's now that is part of the holdup.
But my point to that is communication. They're supposed to call me up. They made a promise to me that we're going to call me at 4 o'clock. What kind of promise? What kind of people do we have if they don't keep their promises?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. All right. We need a motion to put this for further, we don't have to.
We don't have a policy to put on the agenda for
Okay,
voting,
so-
so until the policy gets developed.
Okay, so we are gonna keep working on the policy, and then when we have that ready, it'll be put on that next meeting's agenda. All right, next topic is the review of the proposed resolutions. Are you discussing that?
I am going to discuss that.
Okay. Peggy is going to speak on the resolutions.
I think we lost him.
Oh, we lost her. Do you want to get her back on your laptop?
I don't know, we lost our, now it's connected again now. It'll start connecting. Here she comes. All right, we got you back.
I'll be there for the next person. The January meeting, that's not.
Okay, we're starting again.
Sorry. Sam, I will call you later and let you know exactly what's going on. We gotta get this policy in place and,
She missed that part.
Can't hear you.
She's saying she's gonna call you later.
Yeah, she's gonna call you back, 'cause she's working on the policy.
Okay, Kim, so we're going to review the resolutions right now.
perfect.
We have our official records request resolution, and this is just an update to the one that was approved. We have to take a dollar amount. We had in here an administrative fee of $20, and so we have to remove that, but that's the only thing. So I'm not going to read the whole 3-page document at this time. So it's just an update to it. The next one is our salary review committee. That's a resolution. In January 2024, NYC hired a property management organization to manage our association. The property manager is no longer a direct employee of the association, nor are they the manager of the association employees. Whereas the salary review resolution needs to be revised to update the shift in responsibilities from the property manager to the board president or their designee. It is hereby resolved that a salary review committee comprised of the vice president, treasurer, and one other director is to be formed in March of each year. I just want to state here that this resolution here that I'm doing right now for 2024 supersedes resolution 07 from 2014. It is hereby resolved that a salary review committee comprised of the vice president, treasurer, and one other director is to be formed in March of each year. The director member may be self-nominated, nominated by any other director, or by the committee, and shall be approved by the board of directors. The vice president will serve as chairperson. One of the other members will act as secretary. If a member is unable to serve, the board of directors will appoint another director as a replacement. The duties of this committee are as follows. Discuss with the property manager any ideas or proposals he or she may be considering, such as part-time or temporary help, additions to the workforce, or change in job responsibilities and descriptions. Determine the total maximum gross pay increase for the president to distribute to the employees for the following calendar year. The committee will propose pay increases for each employee. Make a preliminary report of the proposed or suggested pay increases to the board before the end of April each year. The report shall include a 5-year history of wages, salaries for each position. The proposed salaries will be used by the property manager to prepare the operational budget. The property manager will recommend specific raises for all employees to the salary review committee at their October meeting. The salary review committee will present a proposed salary and benefit proposal for all positions to the other board of directors at a closed board meeting prior to the budget meeting. Any board members have any comments or questions about the updated resolution? Any comments from the audience? Okay, so make a motion to put this on the agenda then?
I second it.
I did make a motion. I'm sorry, okay.
You made a motion to add it to the agenda?
Yes. We made a motion to add it to the agenda, and I seconded it.
And I need to make a motion to add the official records request to that also, so it gets approved at the November 19th meeting.
Official reference request?
Official records request.
Okay. And also to put the procedure for the official records request on the agenda for next meeting.
Oh, there was a second page to the salary review. I'm sorry, there's more to that salary review. There were 2 pages to this. The board of directors will approve all employee raises. All wage salary increases will be included in the proposed budget for the coming year. Raises will be given where warranted to all employees, both hourly and salaried, on January 1st of each year. The salary review committee may adjust individual rates for employees during the year within the agreed upon maximum range for that year with the approval of the board in each case. Exceptions may be made to maximum ranges for individual jobs if it is required in order to fill or retain a specific position or employee. This will only be done with approval by the president and a full review by the board. Any new positions other than temporary help must be approved by the board. Emergency short-term temporary help may be approved by the president if necessary, with a full review made to the board. Other discretional or additional remuneration, discretionary supplemental remuneration such as a Christmas gift may be considered by the committee and must be approved by the board. Any consideration of such remuneration will depend heavily on the current budget and the financial condition of the association. The secretary of the committee will see that a report will be filed in the committee folder that will include 5-year wage salary benefit history for each position, approval of the employee increases for the coming year, including bonuses made to the KMCA board, and any other pertinent correspondence or information relative to salary and wage increases for the coming year, including copies of the signed performance evaluations of all the employees. So, anything else on that?
I have a question on that.
Which one?
The secretary's responsibility to, kind of note the outcome of that. That has been historically done by the preparation of the spreadsheet that has all of that. I don't know, Kim, if you're looking for additional information or just the spreadsheet is sufficient for noting the recommendations from the committee.
So you're saying instead of a report, you're just talking about the spreadsheet?
I'm saying historically the spreadsheet acted as a report, and I'm wondering if you're asking for additional information.
I'm not following the question. You're saying that, I'm not following what you're saying. You're saying something about the initial report?
Historically, the spreadsheet that has been developed by that committee acts as the notes for that committee. And I'm asking if you're asking for additional information in addition to the spreadsheet.
No.
So,
what do you want for this?
so the spreadsheet acts as the official recording.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need to note that?
So do I need to change something in the verbiage?
No, I don't think we need to change it. I just wanted clarification of it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. That was item number 9 on page 2 of that.
Yep.
Okay.
So you already made
Our next resolution is the Reserve Investment Committee. And this resolution will rescind Resolution 2015-04. Whereas the money held in the reserve accounts need to be invested to benefit the community. The investment decisions should be made by a committee made up of the treasurer, the property manager, and finance committee chairperson. It is hereby resolved there shall be a reserve investment committee comprised of the NYC treasurer, finance committee chairperson, and the property manager. The treasurer shall be responsible for the overall function and accuracy of the committee. The finance committee chairperson shall be responsible for providing advice on the timing of planned projects funded by the reserves. The property manager shall be responsible for information on the status of current and future projects. The investment of reserve funds shall be approved by this committee. The committee shall meet every other month with the objective of accomplishing the following goals. 1, all reserve funds shall be invested in insured accounts or in investment options that are guaranteed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. 2, reserve funds must be maintained in accounts that are separate from the NYCC operating funds. 3, reserve funds should be deposited in investments that offer the best interest and growth potential within these guidelines. 4, investments of reserve funds should be laddered in a manner that ensures appropriate cash flow is available for planned and unplanned expenses out of either the required reserves or the restricted reserve accounts. 5, cash funds of at least $200,000 are available for months during the hurricane season, which are June through November. Cash funds of at least $50,000 are available during other months. 6, interest income shall normally be prorated quarterly to the required reserve accounts based on their funding need. If exceptional circumstances exist, interest may be applied to restricted accounts with board approval. 7, taxes, if required, shall be paid out of operating funds. Any questions from board members?
No.
Any questions from the audience? I make a motion to add the Reserve Investment Committee Resolution 2024 to the agenda for the November 19th meeting.
I second it.
And our last resolution is legal opinions. We've never had a resolution for this, so this is a brand new one. Kim, has this one been passed at our August meeting? The January?
This one has been sent out to everyone, and I believe it also went to Holly. In fact, I know it went to Holly.
Did we already approve this one at a prior meeting?
No. We talked about it, but we never approved it.
Okay, so we'll read it. We'll get it on the agenda to approve it.
Yep.
King Mountain Condominium Association obtains legal counsel on a variety of subject matters related to the ongoing operation of the association. These legal opinions, documents, need to be maintained in a manner that allows for retention, review, and retrieval of said documents in accordance with our governing documents, amendments, and records request policy. Legal guidance is typically provided by our legal counsel by written letter, email, or by verbal consultation. Whereas King Mountain Condominium Association does not currently have a policy or procedure in place for obtaining, storage, and retrieval of legal opinions that have been rendered on behalf of the association, it is hereby resolved that the following procedures shall be adhered to. The Board of Directors will receive a copy of any new legal consultations provided to the association. The records of these legal consultations will be maintained as follows. 1, a 3-ring binder will be maintained in the property manager's office in a secure location. All legal opinions, letters, emails, and written summaries will be stored in this binder. If any owner's specific information is included in an opinion, all identifying information will be redacted. 2, an unredacted copy of any owner's specific legal opinion will be kept in that owner's master file. 3, access to the legal consultations will be in accordance with the KMCA's records policy. An access log will be maintained to document any records request. Email written correspondence. It is the receiving board of director member's responsibility to print any correspondence and file per this resolution. Verbal guidance. For situations where legal guidance is provided verbally, the responsibility for documenting and immortalizing that conversation resides with either the property manager or the board of director member involved in that conversation. The written documentation must include the date of the conversation, the topic, all parties involved, and the outcome of the legal consultation. The document must be signed and dated. Any board members with any questions? No comments from the audience? I make a motion to add this to the November 19th meeting.
I second it. Any questions? Any comments? Anything? Okay, we're going to move on to unanimous consent forms that we have signed recently. That the board of director has signed.
I'm sorry, Sabrina, can we go back a minute?
Yeah, okay.
No, Sabrina, it's 9F. Are we gonna go over the, resolution that we went over for the Mora yesterday so that it can be put on the agenda for approval for the 19th meeting?
Can we add that? We did the Mora resolution, and I tried to get it through quickly so that they would start functioning properly.
I, as a board member, haven't seen it, so I don't know what.
Kim has it.
Okay, so then what do we have to do? Wait until the
Kim,
board?
can you? Do you
So
mind?
I think what we need to do, Nelsa, I did finish it last night, with the changes you and I discussed. I'm asking the board that we can, that I can email this out right after this meeting, that we can get everyone's, feedback. And I'd like to put it on the agenda, or Sabrina has asked that we can put on, agenda for November 9th.
Okay, that's all I can ask.
Okay.
Thank you.
That works.
So who's making the motion?
I'll make the motion to put the Mora, resolution on the agenda for November 19th.
I'll second that. I'll get that out to everyone, right after this meeting.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, now back to the unanimous consent forms that we've signed throughout the season, off-season, for different things, like, who's got all the contracts? The contract for the flooring by USA for Unit 40E, that's something that, who's got the contracts? Okay, so we're just gonna put, we already unanimously approved all these things, but we're just gonna put it on the agenda for November 19th meeting. We had, first of all, a contract from Flooring USA for Unit 40E. There was work that needed to be done to Unit 40E due to whatever was happening outside with the ground and the, after it got shored up, his floor needed to be fixed. And then there's a contract with CSM to inspect the catwalks and the railings. So we have to put that on the agenda. And then a new treadmill and a maintenance contract that are for our gym up here. We have to put that on the agenda. And then we got D, AmeriGas regulator replacement contract, which obviously is going to include that other discussion that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, that wasn't passed by the board.
Okay, so that one is kind of part of that. So I'd like to make a motion that we put these on the November 19th meeting.
I'll second.
Now, okay, so next, any questions, any comments, anything? Okay, we're moving on. The next item is the voter designation form.
Yes, every owner, when they go through the onboarding process and the interview and sign their documents, they have to sign a form that one person in that unit will be the designated voter for the election. And what we found out last year is that when we get the ballots in, get them in, we have a whole list of who our designated voters are. And the person who signed that they're voting has to match what we have. And we found that a number of those signatures don't match up with who should be signing it. So when that happens, we immediately have to take that ballot, that envelope, and set it aside. We can't even use it. So, and that happens, people forget who's supposed to be signing to vote. Changes happen, spouses die, and somebody else takes over and has that responsibility. So we're asking at this point in time that everybody can either call the office and find out for sure who is the designated voter. And if you want to change that, please come down and sign a new form. As here in December, we will be sending out the announcement for the annual election, which is March 1st, Saturday. So we want to make sure that we're able to use everybody's votes for everything. So we just need to get everybody up to speed. And if you have a change in your home, and whoever wants to do that, just get it done. So the form is online, it's on our website. You can come to the office and get it, however you want. Just stop down and get it, or just call to find out who in your home is the designated voter. You're still okay with that. So that's kind of what we got going there. You'll see it on channel 99, please. So, does anybody have any questions on that? Okay.
Yeah, that is an important item, because if the wrong person signs it, they can't even count your vote. You think your vote's counted, but it's not, so.
Well,
a good thing to think about.
And
so.
we couldn't even open those envelopes because we send out for vote for not just for who the new board members are going to be, but for other things. And one of those things is use in an emergency situation with a hurricane. We ask for the owner's vote to be able to use the money in the roof reserve for emergency repairs, and we have to have a vote of the owners, a minimum number for them to be able to use that money. Because we had all these ballots over here, these envelopes we couldn't even use, we didn't get the number that we needed. So in addition to not having high deductibles on our buildings, and some buildings that aren't even covered, we couldn't use the money that we had in those reserves in case of an emergency. So that's why that goes out. It's not just for the board of directors, there's other things that you're voting on. So it's really important that the envelopes get signed correctly so we can use everybody's votes for everything.
Okay, any questions, any comments? Okay, next topic, email consent forms.
I'll just make a note of that. We have, I should say, Watson has about 430 some email addresses for all our owners. We only have about 178 consent forms that we can distribute our legal documents. An example would be the budget packet that we just did. So we ended up having to mail out 330 some budget packets last week because we did not have official permission to send those legal documents out. That obviously cost us money in terms of printing, cost us money in terms of postage. So please consider updating the consent form to receive official notification from the office, as it saves us money.
One other comment on that is you'll get emails, and they're general information emails, but the legally statute documents that the association has to send out to the owners, it either has to be mailed out or you can receive it through email. If you want your legally required documents, we have to have that consent form. So some people think, well, you already got my email address because I get your emails. But that's just a general information email that we're doing. So that's the difference as to why we need the consent form, is for you to get your legal documents by email.
And that saves the association money because we don't have to mail out the documents. We can just email them. So that's something to consider.
So the bottom line is, if you got the budget in the mail and not through email, right, Peggy?
Yes.
Correct.
Or they could have
So
got.
they got it in the mail and not through email, we don't have an email consent form for you.
Well,
That's,
no, it did go out that way, but you also got a mail copy because we didn't have your email.
Yeah.
no, that's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah, if you got an email and mail, then.
Yes, there was some.
Customer
Yep.
only.
Mm-hmm.
If you got it through the post office, we don't have an email consent form for you.
Consent form. Yeah.
Correct. Yes, you're correct.
Any questions, any concerns? Okay, I'm moving on to the next thing. The managers meeting.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got a typo on the agenda. I just want.
I fixed it.
Oh, did you? Okay. I just want to let, if you don't mind, so I wanted to let everyone know, most of you know me, I'm Holly, I'm your community property manager here. I have implemented, where Chris was doing the third Monday of every month, having a manager meeting. I'm doing that as well at 10 a.m., so you all are welcome to come. I'll update you on any of the community things that are going on, and then you're welcome to ask me any questions. So that's why I added that in there, just to let you all know.
I'll clarify, it's Monday or Wednesday?
It's Monday.
Yeah, that's an
Okay,
error
so
on the agenda. It is Monday, not Wednesday.
Every third Monday of every month at 10 o'clock.
So it'll be the 18th, it'll be the day
Yeah.
before the budget adoption.
Okay, yeah, so the day before the board meeting, this is coming.
But I just wanted to let everyone know that's what's going on. You are very welcome to attend, and I encourage your attendance.
Okay, another thing I needed to add is the hot wire workshop is going to be on Tuesday, the 12th, November 12th at 10:30 in the clubhouse. There was an email blast that you could sign up for this hot wire workshop. And I believe I was told that also if you didn't sign up, that you would be able to attend, but I think they prefer to know how many people, so they don't have too many at one time. So, any questions, any last final comments before we adjourn?
I have a few I want to make. I didn't get to do it earlier. Usually we do it at the beginning, but I got a couple comments on it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, as everybody probably knows, I look through all the invoices and everything that we get to look at and everything. And there's a few things that the board is not following the rules on, and it's very important. It was passed in January or February when Ron Longo was the president. We put it on to the new property manager meeting coming in. That was going to be a $500 was all you could spend without getting board approval. Well, I've been looking at invoices and stuff, and there's been some invoices, there was some work done for $1,700 that the board didn't approve. And it should have been put out to the board. It was for painting in one of the units. I talked to Pam about it, and she agreed that it was a mistake, and it should have happened, and it was a mistake. So that's one of the things. Anything over $500, the board has got to approve it, and that was set up with a new property management company coming in last year, because we used to give it $5,000, and that was a little bit too much. So Ron brought that up in a meeting, and we all passed that. So it wasn't that long ago where it shouldn't be recognized. And there's another problem that I have with a contractor, handyman contractor was doing some waterproofing on building 39 and 40. And one of the buildings on 40 had probably, I would say, a little over 100 square feet of waterproofing to do. And a lot of that was up on ladders to do it and everything. But what he did, they put it together for $500 and $500 a piece, so it wouldn't be over the $500 limit. Well, the 39, there was about 20 square feet done, and we paid $500 to do 20 square feet. It should have never been built that way. It should have been broke down. If the one building was over 500, it should have been put out to the board to approve it, and it wasn't. You don't break down it. There's two different projects, so you don't combine them to get your money, get the $1,000 and make it legal. and to me, that's what happened, okay? The board needs to vote on that, and in my opinion, like the $500, and when Holly first came in, she was putting everything out there, even if it wasn't $500, and, you know, I even mentioned to her, it's gotta be $500 or you don't have to do it unless it's $500, but she was doing it pretty regular, but when you have board members telling her that it's okay to do this, and it doesn't get put out to the board, that's not right. That's what the board, there's 7 board members, and we're supposed to vote on that kind of stuff. And when it gets put out just for one person making a decision, that's not how the board's supposed to run. So I'm not real happy with that situation, that situation going on. And like I said, I talked to Pam about it, and she did tell me that she okayed it for Holly to do that. So it really wasn't Holly's fault, not to send it out to us, but we just need to make sure that in the future that we do follow these rules. These rules were set up so we don't spend too much money on things that's not necessary. It's our money, let's use it in the best way we can. That's all I'm looking at there.
Okay. We usually do, and we will continue to do so.
Can I just ask one quick question, Chuck?
Yeah.
Can the board vote on a phone call? You guys
Do unanimous.
phone calls from somebody to say we spent $600?
No, what happens is they put it out on an email to the board, and the board can vote on it that way.
So you're voting not in public?
Right.
You're voting in private, so we don't know what you're voting on?
No, wait,
Well, we're doing
that's the thing.
That's all I need to know.
We're doing it private because a lot of people aren't here to do it.
Right.
And we need to get stuff done during the off season. So it's gotta be unanimous, so it's gotta be 7 people.
I'm gonna explain this. The part that I said, the unanimous consent form signed by the BOD when we're out of season, what we do is we send emails, and then if we do it by email, it has to be unanimous, that we all vote yes to do a particular job. We did this during the season for things that have to get done. So now, on November 19th, that was one of the items I brought out. This is all gonna come out in the board meeting. Okay?
I just
So
want
it's
to
not
make sure
a
you're not.
secret. It's not in secret.
Well,
but it's
we
going
don't
to
know
come
about
out.
it.
You don't know about it, but we had to fix Bob's apartment. We can't wait until
Correct.
we're all
Well, I
back in
understand.
season, so.
Well, I think you're asking a question, but this is stuff that the board votes on for like work being done. The community doesn't have a say on it, that's why you voted for us to do this. So
Right.
that's why we can do it this way.
I just want to make sure you don't
Yeah.
have to
It's
call a
nothing
meeting
that-
every
nothing
time
that
you
guys
spend
have to-
$600.
Yes.
No, that's us.
No.
We have to approve
It's
every
gotta be
time
approved by,
something's over
also,
500.
the one about the, regulators, yes, it got 6 approval, but I didn't approve it, so that didn't pass. But then we gotta bring that to the board.
That's why we're gonna discuss the two on,
Okay,
the next meeting.
just checking.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we don't send those to everybody. When an invoice is over 500, we all approve. We all send out explaining why is this like this, and we have discussion, and then we get a consent form that we sign. Either we approve it, or sometimes somebody doesn't sign, and we don't have a unanimous approval, then we gotta come and discuss it at a meeting.
Okay, so if it's not unanimous, you have to discuss it at a meeting.
Yes, and
Okay.
then we're gonna bring all the ones here that we signed unanimous consent forms on, we're gonna discuss them at the meeting.
You're gonna ratify them at the meeting.
Oh, we're gonna ratify,
They
exactly.
have to be in the board
That was
meeting.
put in place to keep the board aware of everything that is going on.
Right.
Okay. It's 2 seconds. All gotta do is get everybody's approval and it goes through. It's not like it's a big deal. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's in Watson's contract that the manager's not supposed to be.
It was. We put it in. All right, well, there's one other thing I want to make a comment about, if you don't mind. I was playing golf the other day. I was going by building 40 again. And Carlos, I guess, planted a bunch of plants down the side of it. The plants are, who supervises this, Holly? Do you supervise the plants being planted?
I did not,
Who supervises them?
the landscape committee.
Okay. My question is, I was looking at the plants and they just got put in, and they're way too close to the building. They are already touching the building. And Carlos should really know a little better than that, actually. They need to be at least 2 feet to 30 inches away from the building. And even when we had our termites and our insects and everything, when we met with the people, They even said, do not let plants touch the building because it has a way for the insects to get into the building. But these are just planted like maybe a week. They're not even rooted yet, but they are already touching the building, so they've had no time to grow. So really, we need to get those plants moved out some, so they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So can we get that done? Becky, can you look into that?
We'll look at it.
Okay. I mean, Carlos, I'm surprised you put them that close, but they are. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Judy?
Hello, Judy Robertson, 17G. First, I want to just say it's wonderful to be back here with everybody, and thank you again for all the hard work that's gone on over the summer. While those of us that are not here year-round haven't been here to help out with. But the one question that I have, I know Sabrina approached me before the meeting to give me a little bit of an update, is I'd like to be involved. I think most of you that know me already know that I like to be involved and attend meetings that I may not be on that specific committee, but I'd like to just kind of stay informed and be able to understand what's going on within the community. And not being here during the summer it's difficult. And I know there's a lot of others that are not here that probably feel the same way. You know, we're encouraged to attend meetings, we're encouraged to be able to participate as much as we're able to, but not being recorded now for a lot of the meetings. I called like 4 times over the summer to try to get answers, didn't get calls back. I finally, on my last call to the office, got a message that it's now illegal as far as why we don't record meetings any further, which I understand if things have changed, but I hope that there's something being looked into to be able to allow those of us that are not here year-round to attend meetings. Sabrina told me that we do have a Zoom contract, which only includes 10 connections. I'm not a tech
We were going
person.
cheap.
Yeah, and I'm saying that
so
was
that
the need
we
at the
could
time.
conduct business.
Yeah, and that was the need at the time,
Yeah.
and I totally
And
understand
I don't
that.
know if we have the infrastructure here to do like a large-scale Zoom meeting for everybody to attend.
Yep.
That's something that, like, you have to speak more with communications. I don't think it's at that point yet, so there's things that would need to be worked out to get it to that point. I'm not totally versed on this, but this is like a little bit of what.
And I'm not either, and that's, I guess, why I'm asking the question is, I know there's others that have already offered up to be able to kind of educate people on what options there may be out there, and I just want to understand if the communications committee does have this on their agenda to look into further to see what the options might be for those of us that are not here to be able to attend meetings. I know Kim talked about it, you know, when she joined the board back at the beginning of the year, and it is great to be able to be on Zoom. I'm on the finance committee and I do attend via Zoom. But other than that, we're kind of left out in the dark. Even like Holly's monthly meetings, I called to see if, you know, I called it minutes, could be sent out after the meeting just so we can all understand what's going on. And I was told, well, it's not an official meeting, so there's not official minutes. I said, okay, maybe I misspoke. I should have just said notes. You know, could there be notes emailed out? Because we get other general information afterwards. So we don't even know what's going on with the monthly information meetings because there's not notes that are emailed out afterwards. So I'm just asking whether or not this is on something for the agenda for the communications committee to look into further to understand what options are maybe out there. And maybe there's others in the community that are more versed on what capabilities there are for Zoom or for maybe some other technology to allow some of us to be able to attend when we're not on site.
I'd just like to say to you, Judy, and all our northern friends that came back, welcome back to sunny Florida.
Thank you. But are both Keith and Peggy, are you guys both on the communications committee or? I'm trying to
Keith isn't, but I am.
Okay. Is this something that is
And the
on
chair of
the
that
agenda?
committee is Chris Davis.
Okay.
He's always looking for volunteers who would like to participate.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying, you know, I'm sure there's others, I know that there's been people that have already talked to Pam about, you know, adding it or maybe offering education on what there might be out there. I'm not a big techie person, so I know I've joined, via Zoom. I know there's a lot of capabilities for Zoom, but I don't know those in detail, or what the cost might be, or what the options might be for people to be able to call in, and there's probably different levels of Zoom available.
There's a
to
lot
say-
of different levels,
Yeah.
and when you start getting bigger and you start having people like the meeting ones, it gets pricey. So-
Which, then that's something that we should be able to
It
look.
also gets very difficult. I mean, Sabrina and I are on these meetings all the time, and it's very difficult just to manage the two of us. If we were trying to manage a whole group of people with, not being muted and all that, this meeting would be extremely difficult to put on the Zoom meeting. But aren't these live? Can you watch them live?
There's nothing being televised live anymore. There's no
I think
live, there's no live, and there's no
A couple
recordings.
of times there were problems with the connection. There were different, it wasn't always that it wasn't recorded. I know one time I was expecting it and it was something with the connection. So it's not always, I don't know
Lots of
exactly
technical
what's
problems.
happening. There are a lot of technical problems. Look how her volume is. We've been trying everything to get it loud. So there's always or you'll come up and set it up and try to get things right the night before, everything works great, then you come in the next day, it's not working the way you planned it. So there's a lot of variables. I don't know why and what exactly is wrong. I am technical, but I'm not that technical.
And I've been in a couple of meetings where at the very beginning of the meeting, it was asked, should I record this now? And
that was
you,
Zoom.
and they
But
were
then,
told no.
I was doing it on Zoom, but I did record it. But when you go and try to put it on the medium for people to watch it, it wasn't working right. So even though I was able to record it, they weren't able to put it onto the website and get it to work right. So it's not just.
So are we not doing it now because it's
We're still
legal's
working-
hands,
we're
or
working-
are we not doing it because we're having technical difficulties?
Number one, we're trying to figure out legal ramifications and get that all squared away first, and then we got to figure out how it all works. There's a bunch of things. I mean, I'm talking about this off the top of my head where I really shouldn't, but I know this is part of it. We've always recorded the meetings, and one of the things is after we have minutes, do we take the recordings down? That's one of the things we're discussing, keeping them up for a little while, and once the meeting minutes are approved, then not having them out there anymore. So there's different things that we have to get done. The laws have, ever since I think that Miami building thing, all of the laws have changed tremendously. So,
but is it actively being worked on? That's
Yes.
my question.
Yes, it is
is this just I'm going to sit down and it's not going to be talked about again? Or is it actively being
we
worked
are
on?
active talking about it. I know Kim is very interested in it, and she's always talking about it with. She's always talking about it with Chris Davis.
And if there's help wanted on the communications committee, put that out there, because I know there are people that are much more versed on it than I am that have offered up help, but I just don't know.
Well, it's
going to go anywhere.
I'll speak a little bit about this because I've been on it since day one, and really it started back in COVID when we started. Chris Davis and I found the software and the company, and we developed it all. And Chris Davis has done an amazing job being able to provide owners with the ability to listen to the meetings and stuff. We are not required to. The only thing that we're required to is to provide a meeting in this building for the owners to come to. So we opened it up that way. Between the two of us, we've managed it. We've done all the recordings. We've kept them. He's created a storage place so people can go to them and view those recordings. The equipment doesn't always work. There's many times when I set it up and it doesn't work. So you don't get the recording. You don't have that access. But you always have the ability to come to the meeting if you're available. Now we understand that there are seasonal people that can't come to them. And now effective July 1st, the board is required to have a board meeting every quarter. We've always had them in all our quarters except for the third quarter. So Chris Davis isn't here, and we work back and forth. He'll be in his car trying to help me with the technicalities to get meetings recorded, and it doesn't always work. That's just the way it is. So when you don't have a recording out there, there's just issues that come up with the equipment, the bandwidth, whatever's going on at the time. It's not that we're ignoring people and not doing it.
But that's what I was told, is that they're not being recorded now because it's with
Well,
legal. So
right.
is it with legal and not being recorded?
Yes, and we've just gotten a legal opinion on how we have to save these now. So what it is, if you record a board meeting, you can record it, and owners can record it too. They can do that too on their phones, which, I'm sure some of them do. Once the board meeting minutes have been accepted by the board, you get rid of the recording. If you don't do that, then you have to save all your recordings for 7 years. They now become records of the association. So we are working on the depository where we're going to store all of these recordings and make them available for whoever needs them at whatever point in time. So all of that is being worked on right now as Chris has just gotten back here. I can only do so much by myself. People, and all our volunteers, all our residents, they go away. We're all entitled to take vacation and stuff. So we're all trying to catch up on everything. And there's a lot to be caught up on. As the laws, many of the laws changed effective July 1st on what the association and boards have to deal with now. So he is recording this one. And once the board meeting minutes are recorded, then we'll remove it. We're not storing it.
So will it be put on YouTube? This meeting will be put on YouTube or on our website?
You can watch this meeting right now on channel 99, or you go to YouTube. All of these have been set up that way. As long as the technical equipment is working, and I do believe he's back there working on it. So that's there. Now whether we're storing it there so you can see it afterwards, that I don't know at this point. There's a document being put together that has to be approved by the board on how we're going forward with this because of the new state laws.
And
this is our first meeting since all of that went into effect. And so we're working through all of those. We're working through all the state laws that went into effect as far as using surveillance cameras, how you record meetings, the use of all your equipment, all your recordings and everything. So, and yes, working a lot with Kim. She's been great on helping us. She's very involved with us on that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate everything everyone's done. It's just to want to be as involved as I want to be. I can't do that when I'm not here and don't have access to technology.
This is the first year we were having meetings after when the season was over, and it's because of the changes in the laws. Normally we weren't having a meeting.
You really have to rely on the board meeting minutes that are posted. So you won't always get the recording.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Eileen Mamo, 49E. First, I want to say thank Holly for coming here and working with all of us. We're not easy to work with all the time. But she's doing a great job. A lot of you don't know her yet, but she is doing a great job. Pardon me?
She wants your name again?
Eileen.
Who's speaking? You ain't another name.
Eileen Mamo.
Mamo.
Sorry.
The other thing is, we all know that Keith worked many hours and the other board members, but Pam was up here all the time too. And she's been put under a lot of stress this summer. Every time you saw her, she was under stress because she's getting calls about this and that, and there were people here working. And I think we all need to cut her a little slack and support her.
Thank you.
Bob Stober, 40E. Two things. First, I'd like to thank Holly, Pam, Keith, and the rest of the board for all of their efforts in getting my unit completed. I'm back in, and it's all done. Thank you. Also, just a reminder to everybody that on Monday, November 11th at 11:30, there will be a Veterans Day ceremony at the Veterans Memorial Park. And my understanding is that there will be some sort of refreshments afterwards here in the clubhouse.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm waiting for you. Good thing I saw you. I almost
Just to tag on with Bob, we are having refreshments, but we can certainly use some more volunteers to help us. I'm not looking at anybody directly, but I will. And desserts are still welcome. I'm done.
Thank you.
We're having can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we're having a great show on November the 14th called Mr. G. He puts on a great performance. We need people because we only have 33, but that's enough to pay him. So if you want a ticket, see me after, and I will be glad to give you one. Thank you.
Mr. Who? T.
Mr. T.
Mr. T. Mr. T. So it's Big T.
It's not, it's big, actually it's Big T.
Big T.
Big T music show.
What is he do?
He sings, he does a performance, he performs. He sings all the different, what do you want to call them? You know, anyway, like if he'll do an Elvis song, he gets out there and actually sings. And he just puts a really good show on. You will be very surprised.
And he encourages the audience to be along with him. I admire that.
Okay, yeah, he definitely does his own singing. It's not a recording.
He was here one time.
He's here one time and we had a great time. The dance floor was full the whole night. So, think about it.
Okay, is that, what did you say? Okay.
I just want to say one more thing. Milt Havens handed me some signs the other day. They're the AED signs for our equipment. So I mounted one on the inside here, I mounted one on the outside there, right where the machine is, and over at the yacht club I put a sign so people are going to know that they are there. Tom Andrews and me had a discussion, and we needed to put on the outside that the sign is in, the machine is inside. So I went to the plastic sign company, and they made me two little signs I'm going to put up that says AED inside the building. So everybody know that they are here. The only thing there's a problem with, and I discussed this with Holly a little bit, the pool is open till 7? 7? You know, that door gets locked at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock when they leave. That door probably needs to stay unlocked while we have people in the pool, because if they need to get that equipment, they're going to have to go find their key or do whatever they got to do. By that time, it could be a little late. So, you know, we got to work on something how we can keep that door unlocked till 7 o'clock. So when people are in the pool, if they need the equipment, they have access to it. So, and we got to come up with a solution for that. A code lock? That's a good idea.
Any last final comments before we adjourn? All right, thank you everybody for all your input. Thank you for coming. I make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.